All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, what an incredible 24 hours. We have so much to cover. I've invited everybody, all the members here from Top Gun Options, folks, including just not accelerated retirement, but everybody. Man, uh, a lot to cover. Long night, talking to a lot of dudes. I got buddies overseas in the region. Got a lot of intelligence to share. Exactly, man. Got my shirt on. Interesting response out of the president for all of you who have been pounding the table that Trump's going to get us into World War III and going to get us all killed. You owe all of us an apology for being stupid. The man clearly does not want to get us into war. If he did, um, Iran would be gone by now. But let's backtrack. I want to do a little bit of backtracking and getting us to where we are today in this politically polarized comment. Sammy, what's her name? Sammy Duckworth, whatever, that idiot from Illinois, was just on the Senate floor ripping apart the president. The guy couldn't. The guy can't do anything right, which tells me that he's going to be easily reelected in a landslide. 30% of this country can't stand the guy. The rest knows what's going on. But here's the problem with what's going on in this country, folks. And it you know, I took my 90 meds here to calm me down. But if you have a problem with the president killing a man personally responsible for killing 608 Marines and soldiers and horribly maiming thousands of others, and you had no problems with Barack Hussein Obama killing Americans in Yemen. He killed United States citizens with drone strikes. You know what Democrats did? They praised it. You ready, folks? Remember back when Obama killed he killed a 16-year-old boy. Senator Wyden of Oregon, Udall of Colorado, Heinrich of New Mexico sent a letter to Attorney General Eric Holder at the time and said what? The use of force was legitimate use of authority granted to the president. Are you shitting me? So the same Democrats who today are ripping the president apart for killing this son of a bitch piece of shit praised Obama for killing Americans. Now, you guys know how I feel. Those people, once they picked up arms, went overseas and tried to kill Americans, they ain't Americans anymore. But my point being, ladies and gentlemen, is this is how ridiculous our country is right now. Democrats, and you've seen in the past couple days the coons from Delaware trying to like backpedal. Oh, nobody's mourning General Soleimani's death. Yeah, you were. Polling went pretty damn 90% against any Democrat, more or less, and you saw Pocahontas more or less shuck and jive for the past couple days, going all over the place. But folks, make sure you pull this out at a cocktail party when somebody gives Trump shit. Under Barack Hussein Obama, General Soleiman was designated a terrorist. You know what he did? Hopped on a plane and went to Moscow. You know what he did? He traveled around Iraq, Syria, he killed Americans. When Donald J. Trump's State Department designated the Iranian Quds Force as a terrorist organization, I sat here, grabbed my popcorn, and I was like, okay, hellfire should be blowing this guy in the hair, teeth, and eyeballs soon. And he didn't. So, folks, please make sure you pull this out every once in a while, because this is just, a lot of you, no problem, folks. This is what I'm here for. A lot of people don't know their history. And they don't what? The liberal media ain't covering that Obama killed American citizens, folks. Don't God almighty, it's insanity to me. So Nancy Pelosi last night, actively monitoring the situation and this and that and everything like that. You know what she was doing last night? She was actively monitoring the situation with a couple scotches at a lobbyist party last night. At the Navy Yard. I've been here. Remember my buddy's retirement a couple months ago? She was at a party last night at the Navy Yard as our men and women were getting attacked. Nancy Pelosi rips the president apart for not notifying Congress? Are you high? People are like, oh, Trump looked drugged up and shit. The dude was probably up all night. It's insane. Here's Nancy Pelosi last night. You didn't see this in the media, did you? Of course you didn't. So let me give you what I know without revealing sources and methods. Mark Esper got on TV yesterday in a pretty hastily televised press conference and kind of gave Iran, and I love this word. If we were doing shots, I'd be passed out right now. Do a shot every time you hear the word off-ramp. Give Iran an off-ramp. So we knew the attack was coming, folks. We knew they were going to launch these rockets. I can tell you for a fact that when the dude who's in charge of one of these missile batteries leaves his home and gets in his car, we know. I'm going to tell you that our intelligence assets, if you can imagine it, we're doing it, and then some. So we knew this attack was going to happen. And it's very interesting to me, folks, that people in the media and some politicians said that they deliberately missed. Okay. And again, like I said, I took 50 tablets before I hopped on the air, so I wouldn't overrant. Do you actually think that our military or foreign policy is to allow our troops in harm's way to sit there and hope that rockets fired at them miss? Please tell me you don't believe that. Within seconds of these missiles being launched last night, I can report this number is wrong. 10 F-35 Joint Strike Fighters launched last night. They're in the UAE, folks. Do you remember I briefed you on this about 3 months ago? I said the F-35s have landed in the United Arab Emirates. Folks, you don't understand this F-35, okay? Back when I was flying the Hornet, we had prowlers, right? We had electronic jammers. They'd have to be at the end. We'd have like a 24-plane strike. We'd have 4 Tomcats in the front doing air superiority sweep. We'd have Hornets backing them up. Then we'd have A-6 bombers. Then we'd have the jammers in the back. We'd have these 24 airplane strike packages flowing into Iraq. You know what we need today? One. On your screen, ladies and gentlemen, just one F-35 is its own AWACS. That entire aircraft is a sensor. It is a 24-person AWAC. It is a jammer. It has the most sophisticated jamming technology. It'll make you sick. It's got air-to-air missiles. It's got air-to-ground missiles. 10 of these aircraft loaded with MOABs, mother of all bombs, or air-to-air weapons, and jamming capabilities. There was no way on God's green earth any of those missiles were going to land anywhere near U.S. troops. They did not shoot them into the dirt, ladies and gentlemen. That's retarded. Now, let's go with the good, okay? So Iran, I've been to Bahrain. I've been to 5th Fleet headquarters. You guys know I was the mobile targeting officer in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, for 3 months. There are a lot of U.S. bases in the Middle East, the UAE, where these F-35s took off out of. The Iranians didn't fire these missiles there. They fired these missiles at joint use fields. They fired these missiles at Kurdish, Iraqi, and U.S. bases, and they fired at the 2 bases that, quote, were responsible for the drone attack against Soleimani. Okay? So, they were warned back channel that if you target a U.S. base, no shit, our base, Manama, Bahrain, partied there, I've been to 5th Fleet, I've briefed the 5th Fleet, 3-star, man, if they fired one rocket in our direction, the President of the United States was going to literally level every part of their oil infrastructure, and also obviously where all the missiles were launched. Okay, so please do me a favor. If you hear anybody doing well, look, the Iranians, fired these, over into the dirt. You didn't see the image. These things came pretty damn close. If you don't think our satellites, if you don't think these F-35s have jammed, these Shahab, I think they were Shahab 3, so looking at some of the images and stuff like that, they're INS guided. They weren't going to hit anywhere anyway, folks. So if you think the commander of our forces or the chairman of the Joint Chiefs said, hey, fellas, just sit there, you really got a problem, man. Now, I am going to tell you that I know for a fact, and I'm not going to tell you how I know for a fact, that last night, these F-35s dropped MOABs on 2 nuclear sites. This is how stupid Americans are nowadays in the media. Oh my God, there was 2 magnitude, the one earthquake, ladies and gentlemen, that hit near a nuclear plant last night was off the Richter scale, and it came 6 miles down. I've never seen anything like this. The U.S. Geological Survey, the first earthquake hit at a depth of 6 miles. Holy crap. So raise your hand, and I won't pick on you, if you believe that 2 earthquakes during when they were launching missiles at us, 2 random earthquakes hit Iran. I mean, whew. So I know for a fact that out of these 10 F-35s, some of them knocked down and jammed scuds. And folks, literally these 10 F-30, the USS Truman, I have about 36 landings on the Truman. I was part of the Truman battle group for a little bit when I was in the reserves. The Truman is in the Gulf of Oman. You know what the Truman did? And she's got a sub with her and a guided missile fleet. You know what they did? Nothing. 10 Joint Strike Fighters, ladies and gentlemen, essentially were our response last night. And you haven't heard exactly. There haven't been any aftershocks. So, the President of the United States this afternoon, before he even said, does anybody know what he said before he said, like, good afternoon? Christine, exactly. Christine's like, I didn't even know about the earthquake story. Exactly. This is why you guys are here, man. It's absolutely insane. John, same thing, news to me. Folks, Google it. Google Iranian earthquakes. No, exactly. Everybody's like, holy crap, I didn't hear this. That's why you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before Donald Trump, exactly, folks, before he said good afternoon, he said, as I'm president or while I'm president, Iran will never get a nuclear weapon. So I haven't compromised anybody, sources, methods, nothing, but I can tell you, I can absolutely confirm those 10 Joint Strike Fighters didn't launch out of the UAE and do a NASCAR flyby in Bushehr. And there was 2 earthquakes near nuclear plants. You haven't heard boo on the news. Do you think Iran's going to go, oh my God, 2 of our nuclear facilities just got taken out? And I didn't know this, I read a report. Oh, here it is. The nuclear plant was designed to withstand quakes up to a magnitude of 9. Iran is on a major seismic fault and frequently experiences earthquakes. Oh, man. Anyway, yeah, that's my next tab, folks. We'll talk about this. Iran accidentally shot down a 737 last night. Initial reports, of course, from stupid reporters were another MAX crashed. This time it was in Iran, and weirdly, as the missiles were getting fired. This is how stupid the media are. It wasn't a MAX. It was what, a 737, what was the model? 800. It's brand new, this airplane, and it is not a MAX. And the Iranians have said what? We will not hand over the black box to the FAA or Boeing or anybody. It was an 800. Folks, of course the engine was on fire. That's what happens when it gets hit with a missile. The initial, I got a buddy, might work for an alphabet agency. Look at all the blast holes in the aircraft. I posted on my Twitter feed a video, allegedly, reportedly, of this 737 going down. I mean, it is a flame. Folks, airliners don't take off and their engine just explode. That's almost physically impossible. 1 in a kabillion, and it didn't happen during a missile strike. So it really, it's absolute insanity that, I mean, look at these. That's shrapnel, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to be a political science Navy guy like me. No, Varouj, it wasn't sabotage. Ladies and gentlemen, the Iranian Air Defense Forces shot down this airliner. That's what I'm telling you. If you can see it on radar, it wasn't an F-35. So here you are in the Air Defense Command headquarters of Iran. You're getting reports that, holy shit, our 2 nuke sites that are miles underground have been vaporized. Oh my God, there's a radar contact. We got one of these F-35s. That's what I'm telling you, folks. In the heat of battle, what did I tell you last week or a couple days ago? During an Iranian gunboat battle, the USS Vincennes shot down an Iranian airliner. They just did it to themselves. Actually, it wasn't Iranian. It was obviously Ukrainian. I'm seeing the fringe dudes on Twitter do the whole, who was on it and did Putin shoot this one down too? I'm not going that tinfoil hattish. I am telling you that anybody who looks at the initial pictures from this crash, you can see shrapnel. Okay, so wow. Now let's get back to first of all, last night, I'm sitting here talking to a ton of people, this and that. The futures at one point, I think, were down 500 points. And then as the night went on, they just started to slowly rebound when the president sent out a tweet that said, we're good, all's well. No U.S. casualties, no any casualties. I don't even think there was anybody wounded. So, can you give, maybe towards the end, guys, I want to keep briefing here. I can give you a link to all these. I mean, you can go, this is the Sun, this is the UK, all these pictures. It really pisses me off that I have to get my news from like UK outlets. It sucks. So, nope, they won't. They already said they're not turning over the black box. It will show that the thing was shot down. They're flying along at 8,000 feet, and all of a sudden, one of their engine blows up, folks. That's a surface-to-air missile. I've been to Top Gun, folks. I've looked at, when we go through class, there's class 101 about what shrapnel looks like hitting an aircraft. And it's right there. So, it's horrific. People, So, in the past couple days, 1,500 people were killed by General Soleiman protesting in Iran. They just shot down an airliner, killing all these people too. And then 50 people were killed were killed in a stampede. I was going over these pictures again. You can do this for yourselves, guys. You can figure this out and use your brain. I'm here to report and give you my opinion. All right. Now, I'm going to tell you that I could not disagree more with the president's response. I've had it. First, I'm going to say, and I open with this, to all the idiot Democrats who think this guy's a warmonger, he could have done a hell of a lot more than he did last night, and he's choosing restraint. He talked to the Iranian people. He's blah, 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 blah. That ain't a warmonger, folks. Neither am I. But I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, you don't give your mortal enemy an off ramp. Did everybody see what MSNBC did last night? They reported they passed along Iranian propaganda. They said what? They said 30 Americans have been killed. There's a second wave coming. The official Iranian news agency today said 80 Americans have been killed. So the Iranians are trying to save face, and this is a great moment to have a diplomatic breakthrough and everything like that. I could not disagree more, folks. You don't give your mortal enemy a, quote, off-ramp. The Ayatollah today has already said that ain't it. This was the initial response for General Soleiman. We attacked the two bases where the drone came from and where the U.S. Special Forces are. So, well, Karen, that's kind of the whole thing. Is this guy has a history of doing what? Giving people a lot of chances. After they seized the Brit tankers, after they blew up the Saudi tankers, apparently today the president said they shot down 2 of our drones. I didn't even know that. They attacked the Saudi oil fields. They attacked the American embassy. They did the rocket attack where 4 U.S. soldiers were injured and a U.S. American was killed. Did you notice that the president today, have you guys heard the name of the guy that was killed or seen a picture? If you ever go to Langley, I think they did release the name, but I haven't seen it. I thought I saw something a couple days ago of somebody. I don't. What I'm getting at, folks, is the fact that this guy or lady's picture hasn't been blasted everywhere. Like this guy or lady was killed. Did they release it today? Okay, well there you go. I was going to say it's taken a very long time to release it. Why? Because usually if it's an agency, if you go to Langley and you go in the lobby, there's stars for each CIA officer, agent, whoever that's been killed. They don't have like a wall with names. It's just a star. So for a couple days there, I'm like, well, they ain't naming this dude, and I haven't seen a picture. So anyway, here's my point, ladies and gentlemen. Good on the president for choosing diplomacy, blah, 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 blah. Does anybody in this room think that Iran's going to change? Thank God Donald Trump acted and he put their nuclear program back literally into the dirt. Iran is not going to come out this afternoon, folks, and go, 2 of our nuclear sites were hit. And I love the president today calling on NATO to do more and also to bail out of this missile thing. But folks, and you can see, the Dow was up like 70 points at 10, 11 in the morning. President was about 30 minutes late. And as soon as he started talking and given the off ramp, the market popped up. The Dow went up over 200 points. So I'm not a warmonger. I'm not any of those type of things. I just know the people. I know Iranian, the leadership. And I agree with General Petraeus. General Petraeus had a great interview the other day. That guy was screwed by the Obama FBI. Oh my God, that sounds redundant. But he said this can't be understated. This is bigger than the death of al-Awlaki, Baghdadi, and Bin Laden, folks. Some couple birdies I've talked to have said the reason that this was their response is because he was the dude. He was their chairman of the Joint Chiefs, man. Big Rolodex, knew everything type of thing. And his death significantly puts these guys on their heels. So do we think that his death and their kind of wrist-slapping response here is the end of this? I don't know. I'm going to tell you that I do not think there's a snowball's chance in hell. If you don't think that the Iranian people, obviously their social media and everything like that's curtailed, but it will run like wildfire through Iran, the president's speech. The fact that there wasn't any casualty, it speaks a lot. Okay, so this is Yeah, I mean, what do you think they're going to stop screaming "Death to America" and "Death to Israel"? I mean, it was a great speech, folks. He said, "Hey, man, the day they signed the nuke agreement, they said "Death to America, Death to Israel." They're not, you know. So the president's saying they're not going to get a nuclear weapon on my watch. Is it? I would have. It would have been a perfect speech to me, folks, if he had um, ended the speech with a, look right into the camera and say, "If one American anywhere in the world is killed or injured by Iranian forces or their proxies, I'm going to level your country." I mean, that type of fleeting. I'm not messing around. Okay. So it's just it's comical to see Democrats twisted like pretzels today. Like I said, Duckworth from Illinois, woman served her country, thinks she lost both of her legs, but serving your country and losing both of your legs doesn't prevent you from being criticized for being an idiot. But today, last night, oh my God, if Trump gets us into war, the man's the devil himself. Today, he doesn't get us into war, the man's the devil himself. The devils, ladies and gentlemen, are hypocrites like this, who had no problem with Obama killing Americans via drone strike, including a 16-year-old boy, but ripped the president apart for killing this Iranian general. That's where we are, folks. So politically, this has got to be the dumbest, losingest issue for Democrats. Seriously. Doesn't matter what their words are now. Like I said, Chris Coons on Fox last night trying to backpedal and all sorts of stuff. And let's see the intel. And if it was an imminent. So now we're allowing our enemies to get all the way up to the brink of like cutting your head off, but then grabbing their hand before it like the knife reaches your throat. What are you, stupid? It's insane. In the old days, hey man, we picked up some intel that these dudes over here are planning to go kill Americans soon. Boom! That got out pretty quick. But here we are, imminent. And I even saw Dianne Feinstein, that of California, saying that Nancy Pelosi needs to send the articles over. She's like, I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what this delay is for. This president is an imminent threat. They use the word imminent, right? Clear and present danger to this country. He must be removed from office immediately, and they're doing nothing. Okay. Um, all right. So that's the last 24 hours. It's very interesting that the Iranians did this, right? The Iranians did this, and no proxies, right? Nobody in Iraq did this. No KB or KH militia or anything like this. So this is this is interesting. So anyway, so make sure you watch the primary live trade brief from yesterday, because I briefed our new acronym, right? Each year I come out with a kind of a 2020 acronym, and it's Time F. I'm going to run through it real quick, and then we got to look at some trades. Time F. T, guess what? Trade war. This time, what's today, the 8th? This time next week, folks, we're signing a phase 1 deal. And lost in all of this stuff last night was still me sitting at my desk trying to find out exactly what is in the trade deal. I have no idea. It does. It sounds like Nancy Pelosi's Obamacare quote. We gotta sign the phase 1 deal before we find out what's in it. I don't think they're going to do whatever they say it's in it. They might be able to do some phase 1 stuff because there's nothing in it. The theft of intellectual property, the forced transfer of technology, the government subsidizing of their businesses ain't going to change ever, right? Kind of like Iran. Until the Ayatollah goes, you ever look at pictures? I mean, I'm not that old, but grew up. I remember ish, but you can obviously Google and look what Iran looked like before the overthrow of the Shah. Dancing, women, it looked like America. Not that I'm being imperialist. I'm just saying it looked like, quote, a normal country. And here come the radical Muslims and turned Iran into this Islamic state. The Iranian people are freaking fantastic and decent people. Persians, the region, it's insanely sad. So the president trying to end or change their behavior, it's a great It's noble. Speaking of noble, who should get the Nobel Peace Prize? Barack Hussein Obama, just coming into office for what he might do. Barack Hussein Obama quadrupled the amount of drone strikes than George Bush and killed Americans. Donald Trump has avoided nuclear war with North Korea and has put Iran back on their heels. Let's not give him the Nobel Prize because we hate him. It's Trump derangement system. Yeah, Syria too. Syria, beautiful country, very historic, man. Iraq, the same way. I've flown over the quote Garden of Eden, right on the Euphrates. Doesn't look like the Garden of Eden that I had in my brain, but anyway, it looks like a shithole. China, never-ending trade wars. We still have, Trump woke up that day and smacked Brazil and Argentina around with aluminum and steel tariffs, and then he said, "Hey, Europe, you're next, autos," and then France. I saw the other day Macron kind of poked again, like, "Hey, you guys better not retaliate for the digital tax we're going to put on American companies." And Trump said, "Why don't you suck on these cheese, wine, and champagne tariffs?" So the trade wars ain't over, folks. This is a little bit of a relief rally today, but I'm also going to tell you a lot of my futures buddies and everything like that I have like 52 unread messages. There was a lot of shorts. As soon as those missiles started flying, especially overseas, a lot of people shorted this market, right? So relief rally that we're not in World War III, but a little bit of a shorts here. The I in Time F just hit it a little bit. It's so 2019. We've already moved on from this. And then the Democrats look even more retarded, doing the president only did this Iran thing as a distraction from his impeachment. So it really is. This whole thing's a clear and present joke. It's not serious. McConnell's going to dismiss it, and the president's going to be more empowered. I think since he's been impeached, I heard $46 million his campaign has raised. And that's not the RNC, folks. The RNC is flush with cash. The DNC is bankrupt. I think it's $8 million in the hole, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be very interesting. The Senate's going to dismiss it, and Trump's going to be stronger. The M in Time F, you saw it last night. Or actually, you didn't see it, and the world didn't see it. Kind of like I tell you to read the Global Times every day. You need to start reading the Haaretz or the Jewish Times? What the hell? I thought it was on one of my tabs. Let's just say that the Jewish newspapers are pretty damn good with their intelligence gathering. So, if you're the leader of like a Hezbollah is Iranian backed, folks, like Syria and Lebanon, Beirut. Do you think that all these proxies sit here and go, "Hey, man, the mothership Iran fired back at the U.S. And we're all kind of cool now. Everything's good"? Come on, folks, let's use our brains. The reason, and this has been reported, it said that the Ayatollah was the one that ordered this, and he wanted it to come from Iran and not from any proxies, right? So this was kind of hey, we fired, nothing happened. They have, I think the last count was like 2,200 ballistic missiles of the Scud type of weapons, and I heard they fired a hell of a lot more than 15. Some of them didn't even make it off the launcher. When you can't look at your scope, or when you push the fire button and nothing happens, we're going to call that an attempted launch. North Korea, haven't heard from that dude, have you? This should also send a message to Kim Jong-un that the dude's serious about diplomacy. This guy campaigned on getting us out of forever wars, and for all Democrats frothing at the mouth, he ain't getting us into forever wars. Today, folks, I don't agree with it. It really does crack me up that journalists, quote unquote journalists, sit there going, well, they sent them to hit the dirt. Hey, Cupcake, why don't you go sit at the receiving end of the target area of this, where this missile's targeting, and hope it misses? They were not designed to miss. They were knocked down. Okay. When you fry a missile's GPS or INS, and it can kind of, don't you think that some of these missiles, after you fry their system, that they kind of stay on that course? They might have a default mode that says, If I lose my brain, stay on this heading. Come on, folks. It's so easy. I can't even. I, we will kill you. Russia, man, and China. Last night, folks, I saw that Indonesia deployed a bunch of their fighter aircraft to the South China Sea. This obviously wasn't covered on the news last night. We had closer alligators to the boat. I was going to brief it today, but now I'm mentioning it passing. Indonesia ain't a little country, folks, and it's a Muslim country. I love what we do for Muslims, folks. When I was flying combat sorties over Iraq, I had buddies flying combat sorties over where? Bosnia. Do you remember what we did to stop Muslims from being ethnically, I love this word, ethnically cleansed? We can use the word Holocaust, slaughter, but no, let's use, it was ethnically cleansed. We saved Muslims from being killed, slaughtered in Bosnia. What did Muslims do? Want to kill us more. Does everybody remember the tsunami that hit Indonesia? Holy crap. Thousands dead. What did we do? We sent a United States Navy hospital ship, Mercy. We sent the entire fleet, for God's sakes, aircraft guy, to help these Muslims. Well, that'll make them want to stop killing us. I'm being facetious. Isn't it awesome that we do all this stuff for the people around the world and nothing? Election, time F, T-I-M-E, the election. Folks, the guy wins it. Running away. You guys know I nailed it last time, man. Not only that Trump wins, Hillary loses, we're going to see a rip your face off rally. Nailed it. The Democrats will continue a left turn in the primary because they simply hate the man. If there was one Democrat who stood up today and said, you know what? Good speech, Mr. President. We're behind you. I couldn't disagree more with you on everything else politically, blah, blah, blah. But thank you for not getting us into war. Something like that. I would have respected the hell out of that person. They physically can't do it. I want them to come out being pro-oxygen so these guys all suffocate and put bags over their heads. Sanders, the guy had a freaking heart attack at the beginning of his campaign, and he's still out there. The man has not worked a day in his life. He's never had to worry about profit and loss, paychecks, not taking a paycheck so his employees can eat that month. The dude has never built a thing in his life. Sounds like a community organizer. And he's a millionaire. Exactly. He, I believe, is going to say, you know what, I'm really old and I'm cranky. An old white dude in charge of the Democratic Party. Him and Biden, I love it. I think it's fantastic. Anyway, he and Warren are going to team up because they have similar voters, and them together can beat Biden. If Biden is the nominee, folks, did everybody see what happened the other day? Of course not, because the liberal media doesn't report it. Joe Biden and his son committed felonies. Identity theft. Whenever his crackhead son went to crackhead therapy, he didn't go under, hi, I'm checking in as Hunter Biden. They stole a dead dude's identity and their dead brother and son's identity. I don't care if it's your brother and he's dead. It's a crime. Donald Trump would wipe the floor with Joe Biden. Everybody thought Hillary Clinton was a great politician and debater. The president literally wiped the floor with that woman. If by some snowball's chance in hell, Warren, Sanders, or any Democrat is nominated and wins, the market will implode a minimum of 20%, and we will enter a recession immediately. I've talked to business owners, CEOs. You guys know I do a lot of business consulting. There are CEOs that are like, if that happens, I will lay off probably half of my workforce. You ready for this, folks? And everybody's taxes go up. Yay, America. Let's give 11 million illegal immigrants health care, and Wiz can't even get an appointment at the VA. Freaking fantastic. Trump's going to win in a landslide. I believe Republicans, spelling error, take the House back, and the rally continues. Here's what's funny, though, after Trump, maybe Ivanka, I don't know, but business cycles do this and markets do this. He's going to leave a Democrat or whoever comes after him with a humming economy, and then that's going to happen. It happens, folks. These are called business cycles if you look at the history of this country. The F in time F is the Fed. One of the reasons we're still up here, folks, is this. Everybody should know what POMO is. Permanent Market Operations, and the PPT, the New York Fed, is the plunge protection team. China's doing the same thing, the PBOC. But they are going to have to keep if this economy keeps sizzling. Everybody see the ADP jobs number today? Not that we care. We at Top Gun Options laugh at the ADP number because all we care about is Friday. But for a day and a half, let's talk about the ADP number. But they're going to have to raise rates eventually. But the Fed put, ladies and gentlemen, is real. From Ben Bernanke to Janet Yellen to Jerome Powell. The feeling from market participants is that they will always be here to kiss our boo-boo, pat our head, and tell us to go play outside until it doesn't work. Ben Bernanke sitting on the hill saying, hey guys, I'm giving you everything I got. He literally was Scotty in the engine room. It was comical. A little bald Scotty with a beard. I'm giving you all I got, Captain. I can't give you no more. Well, folks, that works until it doesn't. And that's when that's as you guys know who've been here for a while, that's when the big one happens. That's when you grab your chest, and that's the Fred Sanford when everything's going to implode. All right. Real quick review of this stuff. These are the sectors I'm going to be targeting this year. We got to stay international. FXI has been the gift that keeps on giving. A couple smacks here and there on the rear end every once in a while, but those have been few and far between. Same thing with EWZ. We're going to stay international, targeting these two names. Defense, my God, man. CNBC had a great report yesterday about, on average, 6 months after a military action in the Middle East. Let's get to it. Defense stocks double the S&P 500's return 6 months after Middle East turmoil. History shows. Come on, Wiz. I use your words. Nobody trades off the left side of a chart. But, folks, this is a good one. This is a duh. Defense stocks double after. It's stupid that they don't. Okay? That you would think that they don't. Okay, so that's a no-brainer. I will trade off the left side of a chart with something like that because it's the truth. So we like UTX, we like Raytheon, we like Boeing. Horrific tragedy in Iran. They did it. They shot down a Ukrainian airliner. I saw that the Ukrainian embassy in Iran stopped using the words engine failure. Everybody on this planet knows that airliner was shot down by accident. Okay. So we're going to be getting in all these names. Consumer. The consumer, man, has been one of the ones behind this rally. I've been briefing you that S&P 500 companies have stopped buying back their shares. If you're Apple, folks, in your next earnings call, do you really say you're going to take a shitload of your cash and buy back more of your shares when you are at epic, historic, never seen before highs? Folks, companies ain't buying back shares right now. Insiders are selling at a record pace. But the consumer, mom and pop, little old lady in tennis shoes, ain't acting like they're taking a break. Folks, I don't trade Lockheed Martin or Northrop Grumman. I'm more familiar with Raytheon, and we'll look at Boeing. So, but if you like Northrop Grumman, you like it. If you notice, folks, if I'm going to add a name, and this is why you shouldn't have a big portfolio. Before I add a name, man, literally in my kind of homework notes, I take a month. I pull in drug deals. I call buddies up and call in favors, and I get research reports. I trade it for a month behind the scenes. So I just don't. If somebody says, "Hey, why don't we trade Northrop Grumman?" I'll talk to you in a month or two, man. You got to know the thing like the back of your hand. So if you like a Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics over one of the names I'm trading, you gotta breathe it, folks. We just don't. we don't throw darts here, right? So yeah, not that I don't like Northrop Grumman, but it's that. Rick, I started trading Lulu because guess what? I did a lot of research on Lulu. It started with a lot of anecdotal research, starting with my wife. But so if you guys haven't been here for a while, we traded Lulu. I forget when it was, man, 2-3 years ago. Lulu was a CSX. Why do I say that? Lulu, out of the blue, I think it was one of their CEOs resigned. Stock was down like 5% in a day. I'm like, oh my God. If you lived in God's waiting room down here in Boca Raton, you know yeah. So it went back up and it hasn't looked back. So we got into Lulu years ago, and then I got out of it when there was kind of global recession fears. And I'm like, well, the first thing to go is going to be that. And I'll admit I was wrong. Apparently, even if there's global recession fears, the little old lady, I see a little old lady with like a baby stroller in the Boca Raton Mall, and I'm like, oh my God, it's probably her grandkid. And it's like 2 of her dogs with pink bows in her hair. She's wearing Lulu, folks. So, was it 2017, Tamara? Yeah. So, financial, JP Morgan, Visa. I'm back. Okay, JP Morgan, but we're at epic highs here, folks. JP Morgan, we were trading back when it was 80. Remember that? And then I bailed because it was dead money, and it was dead money for a year. Then it took off. Okay, when, not if, the Fed starts raising interest rates, this isn't like, hey, we're jumping into stuff tomorrow. This is my prediction for 2020 where we're going to be targeting. Tech, we're going to take a look at Microsoft, man. Oracle, I mentioned months ago. Brian, I know you're in Oracle and your portfolio. A couple of my coaching clients are in Oracle and they're having a blast. If anything, we will trade Apple, but this isn't all bullish here, folks. We're going to be shorting Apple soon, just from a technical analysis point of view. Based on today's, what was it? What did it hit? 300, whatever it hit today. Somebody told me their earnings would have to be quadruple of Q4 last year. Possible? Yeah. Probable? No. And then I'm thinking about getting into the SIN again this year. A couple things that are missing. What's missing? Obviously, volatility. We're always going to be taking one eye on the VIX, and we're also always going to be trading SPX. But what's one thing that we've been trading, speaking of dead CEOs, for a long time that I don't have up here? That I can add. So which one is it? Jeff, you got it, man. Frank, Eli. CSX. The reason it ain't on here is because there is no way on God's green earth that Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer are getting in a car again, driving to the White House to talk infrastructure. Do we not remember? My God, man, what a year this was. Nancy Pelosi walking to her town car, her limo, to go to the White House to talk about infrastructure, offhand comments to reporters about how the president's a traitor, should go to jail and everything like that. Trump's like sitting in his office waiting for him to show up, sees that on TV like, are you shitting? What did she just say? Let's let her get here. Walked in and said, we're done, get out. That happened, man. I'm paraphrasing, but that actually happened. The meeting, so that happened like here. The meeting before that one was what? Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer came out to the microphones and said what, folks? Do we remember this last year? They kind of had the stunned look on their face. They're like, yeah, we went in, with this number, and the president added to it and went up to $2 trillion. They looked like they didn't know what happened to them. This is the president's, this is the president's bread and butter. Like he said, he's like, this is me, man. Unions, cement, rebarb, concrete, roads, building shit. This is me, baby. Let's do it. That's how much you want for infrastructure? Double it. Huge. And then here we are. The next meeting, they're storming out of the White House saying the president had a temper tantrum. And remember the picture? And Nancy Pelosi had it like as her profile picture. Remember this? Her standing up and pointing at the president? And all the liberals and people in the media cheered like she's standing up, look at her giving it to the president. I'm like, in my 27 years
in the United States military or as a CEO of a billion-dollar company. Not once in 27 years of my professional life has anybody in a meeting who was standing up and pointing at somebody been the rational one in the meeting. Trust me. I loved using that response to a lot of people, and they're like, yeah, well, I'm like, exactly. So anyway, yeah, exactly. So, all right. So time F, there's the sectors. You can add, yeah, absolutely, folks. Throw CSX on your down at the bottom. No, I wouldn't do MGM. I'm actually back into Win. MGM was a little bit of a side detour because we were sitting in a brief when news broke that essentially Steve Wynn was Harvey Weinstein. My couple dudes I talked to said that was a Me Too movement sabotage. If you didn't know, Steve Wynn was the COO, I think, no, CFO. Steve Wynn, ladies and gentlemen, was the CFO of the Republican National Committee. Did you know that? And within, like hours of these allegations, he resigned. So that was a political hit job, and I think his wife was part of it. But so no, I'd prefer Win over MGM. But if you've been trading MGM for a while and that's your cup of tea, then knock yourself out. So all right, let's go through some things, guys. Joe, I put that on there. I said SPX and VIX. So OB, yeah, guys. So listen to me. That sector brief, that ain't for today, man. I'm going to stick with this, folks. Let's go strategic here. I am sticking with this, man. I am sticking with this and that. Mid-January, I think January 15th, when we get a phase 1 deal signed, it's going to be it might not be that day, that minute, but I'm going, give me some room here, folks. And I appreciate the kind words about the Iran and a lot of the calls that I've made recently that have been pretty damn accurate. This rally is going to fade mid-January to February, period. And I'm telling you that this sum of today is a relief. Of course, the market's going to be a little bit bullish when we ain't going to war. But a little bit of this quote rally is also a short squeeze. A lot of futures traders last night. That's what you do when you're sitting there and you're stuck to your phone and you day trade or you trade Europe or the Asian Open and you see missiles flying. You short the market. Those things end. Karen, you're exactly right. You're reading my mind here. Don't go into that one corner. Earnings have to be so good, like historically good, folks, to reach the multiple, the PE of the S&P 500 right now, folks. I've never seen it happen in 27 years of doing this. Never seen it. Anytime I've seen a market where it's overextended and earnings didn't reach up to the high bar, we get a big pullback. So very long answer to whoever's question that was up a little while ago. No, I'm not getting into any of those names now. The only one I like around earnings, to be totally honest with you, is Amazon. You cannot understate. It's almost like the killing of General. Anybody else, like whenever you hear that guy's name, you think about Neil Diamond? Suleiman. Susie and I saw him in Dallas. We saw him in San Diego. Love Neil Diamond. Neil Diamond guy. Suleiman. So, it's Amazon's gap up today. What's somebody saying? Amazon's down. Amazon down today, XLY up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's very interesting kind of counter move there. But folks, Amazon being down $7 right now is literally a rounding error. Last night, folks, did you look at Amazon after hours? It went down to what, like 1860? So this was so take a look at the chart. Now, this is your thank you, Wiz, for the Uncle Wiz lesson learned here. Use this going forward. Gap move If it comes back to half the gap and goes up, it is the most bullish technical signal ever. You guys know how I feel technical analysis. There's about 4 things in technical analysis you can use, and I just gave you one of them. And you've seen it in motion here, in action. If it gaps up, pulls back to half the gap and keeps going, holy shit, that is the most bearish signal, and it will get pounded into the dirt. Doesn't matter what the fundamentals are. It's a technical move. Black boxes, folks, until they become self-aware and kill all of us, are programmed for this. If you zoom in right there, that little drill bit underneath that on my birthday, December 31st, was a little bit of a touch at half the gap, and then it went up. Okay. Yeah, love Neil Diamond. All right, quick review. Weekly options trade, not doing anything with them. Absolutely sitting on my hand. Amazon is it's only Wednesday, guys. Between yesterday's brief and today, there was a ballistic missile attack against U.S. forces, and we're here with the Dow up 200 points. So Friday's a long way away, but I'm sitting in these. The bull put spreads up 45, 50%. The XLY iron condor, I got no problem with this. We had a big spike above 127 on the XLY. Absolutely think that's going to fade. And let's take a look at the chart. XLY. Well, this is all in solo Amazon. I'm kind of wasting. Oh no, Susie invited those folks in here. So XLY, got no problem with that. This is why we sold the one, that bear call spread up here. Boeing. This is all you need to know about Boeing today, folks. Breaking news: a Boeing 737 crashed. Yeah, that's what happens when you get shot down by a surface-to-air missile. Horrible tragedy. Boeing hasn't even moved. Right? Best opening brief I've ever heard you give. Thanks, Ray. I appreciate it. Man, we've never seen this stuff before. Very bullish on Boeing, folks. This is institutional support. I've told you that, first of all, it's a Dow component. If you're a hedge fund manager, we base our strategies off the Dow. They're tactics, but anyway. Everybody and their mother, including mine, owns Boeing. This is what you call institutional support. So we got a bull put spread on Boeing. Got no problem with that. I would maybe today. Wait, when's earnings? Yeah, good. Since we unfortunately got a crash, ain't Boeing's fault, man. It's not. It didn't have a chaff flare system or electronic jamming pod on board that Boeing, unlike the Boeing I flew. You could look at a weekly iron condor here. The way Donald Trump just talked, we ain't responding anytime soon. We already did. You guys are armed. Invite yourself to cocktail parties for the weekend to talk about how you know that 10 Joint Strike Fighters launched out of the United Arab Emirates. And yeah, these were earthquakes, man-made. The fact that Boeing isn't seeing a super duper rally today, maybe look at a weekly bear call spread out to Friday. I don't mind that. I think we were looking yesterday, yesterday when we had, so here's the two, and Jeff did the Lord's work in the past 2 days on Boeing. Why did we see this yesterday? Anybody know? I went up to play Stump the Chump. Boeing went up 4% yesterday. Guess who's loading the boat with Boeing? Buffett. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is the guy who comes in when people have already stampeded out of the movie theater. Warren Buffett, does anybody remember the financial company that Warren Buffett bailed out? Which financial company did Warren Buffett bail out? Goldman Sachs. Warren Buffett got warrants at what? You can Google it and find. You can read it. He got warrants at like $90. I remember this at the height of the financial crisis. Remember Goldman, J.P. Morgan, Morgan Stanley, these guys going, "Oh my God, our trading places, our investment banking is over with." And Warren Buffett stepped in and gave a loan to Goldman Sachs. He got warrants, right? Down at, I think it was $90, folks. What a great move. So this guy steps in when it's grim, and he's in it for the long term. So yesterday, If you were in the bull put spread, I didn't get filled. I wanted to exit. I think it was 85%, the Boeing bull weekly options bull put spread. If you didn't get out of it, I'm still fine with it. We're seeing a little bit of a residual warrant today. The only reason this is down a couple bucks, $4 or $5, is the crash, right? I mean, the Iranians, engine failure, and Boeing sucks. Ooga booga booga, idiots. You know who sucks? Your air defense. And you know what's sad, man, is not that I give a shit about this dude, but the guy or the battery that shot that airliner down. I mean, do you think that those guys are going to get a chance to live? 3 can keep a secret when 2 are dead. So anyway, let's see if we got anything out to Friday. Is there any premium in the 327 and a half? Yeah. 150. Let's see. Now, no, we had like, Jesus, 30. What am I doing here? 30 or 35? Guess I could look over in that portfolio. Yeah, this is good. So before you even ask, I'm going to answer it. I would not, listen to me, do this. And I almost want you to go back like 2-3 years, folks. If you're here within that time, we used to do like monthly trades, man. We used to do, oh my God, we'd be doing February trades right now. February bull put spreads or bear calls or iron condors. I've never seen anything like this. This is a tactical market. It's almost like you have to trade weekly options, and you can't get long-term bullish right now. When I think we're going to, if you want to step into this market at record highs and get bullish, hey man, be my guest. And I'm gonna. I don't want to be the dude that says, hey man, I told you so when this happens. We're going to go back up. It's going to be a great buying opportunity. Don't get me wrong, but folks, markets don't do this. Continue to do this. They are doing this, okay? So that's exactly right, Larry. 10 minutes can be a month. Scott, that's a new wizism. Oh, yeah, we use that in the Navy. 3 can keep a secret when 2 are dead. I like this one, and the answer is no. I would, no way on God's green earth, I would do this as a standalone trade. I would only do this as a iron condor, legging into an iron condor on Boeing. Thank God, as we sat there yesterday, I'm like, you know what? I do like an iron condor on Boeing. It started to run away from us, and then I'm like, ooh, breaking news, Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway taking a big position in Boeing. And the fact that we're not getting that follow through today, and I think we give this rally back, folks. This is not Boeing 1.8 bear call. This is not, and we'll get to the VIX in a second here, guys. You can spout my own wisdom before I even get started. Market up, VIX up, something's up. The something that is up right now, ladies and gentlemen, is this. I do not think is over. This is why I gave you such a long-winded brief here, ladies and gentlemen. Is I don't think there's no way on God's green earth that proxies in Iraq are going, you know what? Yeah, we're good. We'll listen to the mothership and not want to kill Americans. Lost in all of this chatter, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that the Islamic Republic of Iran launched ballistic missiles into another sovereign country. Has anyone heard one word out of the United Nations? Like, we condemn this and oh my God. They launched ballistic missiles into Saudi Arabia. They launched ballistic missiles into Iraq. Does anybody think these people are going to change? The answer rhetorically is, of course, no, they're not going to change. Okay? So I'm going to throw this on and leg into an iron condor on Boeing. Let's go over to VIX. The volatility index, ladies and gentlemen, well, it was up a little while ago, obviously, but as soon as, let's take a look at a daily chart of the VIX. Can anybody see where Donald Trump started talking? Right there. That's when the VIX got smashed. And then towards the end of it, it went back up a little bit. Why? So, yeah, I mean, so the president sounded incredibly dovish. And then after he got done being dovish, dudes like me sit there and go, this ain't over. It's going to take a while, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin, you know me, I don't roll any calls. If you got VIX calls on right now, they're on for a reason. And of course, a night missile attack sucked because the VIX, big would have been up huge if this was like during today hours. I would put new ones on, Kevin. I don't touch guys with volatility. Come on, man. Ron Pompeo, the easy bake oven. Set it and forget it. I don't touch anything, man. Do not touch volatility stuff. Okay. So you got it, Kevin. Absolutely. So yeah, I'd put new ones on. I'd hold the ones I got. I didn't, obviously, after market hours. I ain't getting out of VIX last night when it was going through the roof. But I would absolutely put new one on. So, and yeah, the answer is yes. I would look at S&P 500 puts, folks. This is not. It's not over. I'm not going to repeat myself, and we're over by about 6 minutes here. But this ain't done. I'm telling you, folks. The Hezbollah, which is committed to destroying Israel and a Palestinian state. Somebody tell me that Hezbollah is going to stop just because Dad is trying to have peace with the United States. The answer is no, man. This is the calm before the storm, right? Tavo, are you in here? You needed VXX to get slammed. What's VXX doing? Yeah, down 4%. So Tavo, there you go, man. We talked yesterday in the car on the way down to Miami. You selling some short calls, so 14 and a half, right? So there you go, man. So Varouge, I completely agree. The fact that they came from Iran, he needed to do this, right? He needed to save face, and I can't stand when people say that. If you're allowing somebody who's killed 608 Marines and soldiers to, quote, save face, you're a coward, right? And I told you, Donald Trump, from back in May when they started this tanker bullshit, as he was getting poked by Iran, getting poked. What happens, folks? It's like my kids when they play hockey, like Jack. I'm like, Jack, the second guy gets the penalty, man. Dad, he cross-checked me. Well, you skating up and leveling the kid got you the penalty. So poke, and then the president strikes back, and he's the one in trouble. You don't let this happen. Again, I think the dude gave a good speech. It was, quote, the off-ramp, blah, 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 blah. He needed to end it with looking into the camera saying, if one American is killed or injured anywhere around the globe and it's because of you or any of your people, I'm going to kill you and level your oil infrastructure. Period. God bless America, and walk away from the microphone. He didn't. It's way too diplomatic. I get he did it in the foyer, and I get, God, even the commandant of the Coast Guard was there. President, Vice President, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, all the Joint Chiefs, and the Commandant of the Coast Guard. Obviously intended to send a message. Got Buddy in the Pentagon, who's like every general officer and every general or admiral officer is authorized to carry a sidearm now, and they are all getting diplomatic DPS dudes and NIS dudes. So if they want to try and take out one of our generals or admirals, it's going to we have a lot of generals and admirals in this country, folks, but trying to target the chairman of the Joint Chiefs or one of the dudes that was on TV right now isn't going to be super easy. So everybody remember what happened to the commanding officer's wife of the USS Vincennes? As I briefed you, the Vincennes shot down an Iranian airliner by mistake. His wife was going to the grocery store. A bunch of dudes in a minivan jumped out and tried to kill her. Iranians. So if you are a uniformed officer in the military and you're at high rank, what's to say you're not going to have a lone wolf attack? So I don't want to sit here and scare you. I don't want to end on a low note, but folks, this is not over. pounding the table. I would be buying puts on the S&P 500, and I would be getting long volatility, kind of like Kevin said. I'd be looking out a minimum, folks, 30 days from now. 30 days from now is February 8th. Do you think this is where we are on February 8th? Yeah. Okay, buy some short volatility and buy S&P 500 calls. God bless you. You're going to need it. If you don't think that's where we're going to be, get your ejection seat on. Had a good call with Doc last night, my buddy down here, and he was like, dude, thank everything you've taught me, man. I was ready for this, and I am ready for this. But be careful this relief rally that we're not in war right now, folks. This time yesterday, we were just getting, or we did the brief in the morning. I'm, sitting there in Miami. This hadn't even happened yet. We're not even at 24 hours from this incident, and the Dow's up 200 points. Use your situational awareness, man. Use your oof. Yeah, that ain't an airliner with an engine failure, man. God almighty, what a hell of a way to go. Christ almighty, man. Malaysia airliner shot down in Ukraine. I love that. Boeing 737 crashes in Iran. That's the headline. It did crash. What caused it? All right, guys, let me see if there's, excuse me, any other questions, concerns? Yeah, Rick, well, a lot of people, the Dow has 30 stocks in it, and a lot of people today are saying if Boeing, wasn't down today, the Dow would be up even higher. They're right. John, we are, you know what? Let me ask my better half. We are thinking about doing a live event, probably in the colder weather up in the North 48s, probably February-ish or March. We're probably going to do a live event down here. I'm trying to make it a multi-speaker event. And I'm trying to confirm some folks. So yeah, we absolutely want to do a live event. So you bet, John. I absolutely love to shake your hand too. You're welcome, Perry. Good to see your name. Thanks, Robert. I appreciate it, folks. Hopefully you learned a lot today. Looks like a lot of people did. A lot of you didn't even know about the earthquake. So, I'll do that. I'll throw these links in the chat box here if you want to read all this stuff. I strongly recommend you read some of the Israeli newspapers. These folks are on it. Let me. Where's the other one? The Jewish press is a good one. Copy, paste, send. Anything else you want to read? Here's the black box. They ain't going to turn that over. I think that's about it. Thanks. That's all that stuff. So. Debka's another one, Barry. That's a great catch. It's a bunch of Mossad guys. Yeah, you're right. That's a good one. So, Harry, thanks, Wiz. From now on, I'll get my news entirely from the Wiz News Network, WNNN, all day, all night. Thanks, Larry. Karen, I'm sure you heard me screaming at the TV last night. Yep. All right, guys. I'll get the trade posted here up there as quick as I can, and I'll get the replay posted as well. And I'll see you tomorrow in the weekly debrief. Another 24 hours, man. We'll see what's in store here. You got to believe the dude when he says that was just his quote was that was nothing. That was a slap in the face. Last night they were given one slap. Such military actions are not enough as far as the importance of retaliation is concerned. What's important is that the corruption creating presence should end. The dude words say there's more coming. Ayatollah. Really? All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. God bless, and God bless America. I'll see you guys tomorrow.